Hi, I'm Jos van Oostrum. Thank you for inviting us to present at Virtual Reef Futures. Today, you will hear from the UK-based contingent of Mars Sustainable Solutions, part of Mars Incorporated, that helps our business and brands to make a positive impact for the people and planet. Together with the rest of my team around the world, we've been developing reef restoration techniques that work over a large area and global partnerships to deliver them at scale. I still fondly remember coming to Reef Futures in 2018. That was a great meeting. We're looking forward to meeting you all in person next year. For now, it's good to be meeting virtually, and over the next few minutes, we will share some of our approaches to scaling up reef restoration. To start, here is the summary video of our program.
Hello, my name is Dave Smith, and I'm the Chief Marine Scientist for Mars. And for the next few minutes or so, I want to talk to you briefly about our approach to restoration scale-up. We divide this approach up into three different levels: the local, the national, and then the global. So in terms of our local scale-up, we use a supply chain approach using best management practices, and we divided up the whole restoration process into a number of steps, and in our case, that's 10. And then we've trained local stakeholders, part of the community, up into delivering each of those steps. So specific parts of the community deliver a single step and a single step only. And what this does is really increase the efficiency of delivery. And of course, through task repetition, this gets better over time. It also diversifies the number of types of individuals who are involved in our restoration, which is a real positive for conservation outcomes. All of that together speeds up the restoration process at the point of delivery. So in Indonesia, for example, for a normal day's diving of 4 divers, we can deliver around 7,500 corals per day. Our next approach to our next level is the national scale. And here we've developed a classic hub and spoke model, which, let's just go back a slide, which is an approach that we've obviously copied from others, but our central hub approach is to provide training whilst also inviting people to view the restoration we've done. So our centre in Indonesia is the place where we've done most restoration. We're up to 4 or 5 hectares of restoration. And we've invited stakeholders from different parts of Indonesia to come into this centre learn how we do it, get involved in the restoration process, and then go back out into their own national parks where they undertake their own restoration. What's quite unique about this process is the training and capacity building doesn't end there. We've actually developed a sort of mobile task force, if you like, and that's a bunch of individuals who have great levels of expertise in delivering restoration. And the mobile task force goes back out to each of the spokes of this model and carries on the capacity building and the training, is able to troubleshoot. It's also able to pass on new knowledge of restoration in terms of emerging practices and best practices amongst this restoration network. So this is continual capacity building and feeding throughout the network, which is what we think is really positive. The third level, the global level, is about sort of reproducing what we've done in Indonesia, which has been very effective in different strategic parts of the world. So these parts of the world have been identified based on the connected seascape, based on areas which are sort of required restoration and where restoration is needed and wanted, and also where the science tells us is the sort of least likely to be impacted by climate change. And the individuals within those restoration centres have skills in restoration across the different restoration practices, not just the Mars technique, and are able to provide individuals who come in with the knowledge and the ability to choose what restoration is needed for that specific type of environment that they're working in. So across those three levels, and a mix of those three approaches allows us to scale up, and that's the approach we're using. But of course, restoration means more than just out planting corals, and we have a whole program that is focused on the sort of ecological function and how we restore some of these functions. And for that, I'll pass you over to Dr. Tim, who will talk to you more about that. Tim, over to you.
Thank you, Dave. As Dave said, we see a key challenge in our restoration as restoring more than just individual coral fragments. We think to achieve real meaningful success, we need to be restoring whole ecosystems that can deliver functions and services as a result of the restored ecosystem. To help get us there, we've developed an extensive marine science program. And the cornerstone of that program is ecosystem monitoring. So in each site that we work in, we've got dedicated teams that go out and measure coral growth. They measure fish communities, incidences of disease, incidences of bleaching. And this is all done using standardized protocols, which means our data are comparable across different sites. It's also all inputted into the same system, this data mermaid platform. And that means that we can easily analyze and easily share data between different sites and with collaborating partners. Working on that data set, we've then got partnerships with universities and research institutes around the world. And these people and groups are helping us to understand ecosystem functions, so things like wave attenuation, carbonate budgets, fisheries potential, soundscapes, all of these measures of an ecosystem that go beyond just looking at the coral, but go towards what the ecosystem is producing and giving as a whole entity. So that's something we're really excited about and something that we're working on at the moment and into the future. If you'd like to join us, we love working collaboratively, so please do get in touch via our website. And now I'm going to pass you back to Jos.
Thanks, Tim. So you've heard about our multi-level approach to scaling up from David and our scientific approach to achieving holistical ecological restoration from Tim. Now, the final piece of our approach is to harness the reach of global brands and business. To expand our efforts around the world, we are uniquely positioned to bring restoration to a much bigger, broader, and more diverse audience. We're developing a creative, accelerated pathway that makes coral reefs and their restoration more accessible, more relevant, and more compelling to a wider audience. This increases the probability that other large businesses and organizations will follow suit and rally behind all of us, provide more funding, and ultimately help scale up the restoration efforts even further. We think this is key to finding an authentic connection between the positive impact of restoration and brand purpose. There is an example of this in our recent Sheba Hope Grows campaign. This is led by the Sheba brand and aims to reach a wide audience and attract other large organizations into the restoration space. Sheba has committed to become a fully sustainable brand and will support reef restoration for at least 10 years. Within the first 6 weeks of the Sheba brand launching Hope Grows, The associated public engagement achieved over 159 million media impressions, 2.5 billion media reach in total, and 8.5 million video views and counting. So these numbers are way beyond what we could achieve on our own, and we're excited about the future potential of brand partnerships. The next frontier for us will be to unlock the wider impact of this program and understand how it drives net positive action. So, in summary, the future reef restoration is going to require unique and creative partnerships between the general public, communities depending on reefs, educators, scientists, governments, NGOs, and businesses. Together, we can deliver the best science and community-led solutions at the scale needed to save coral reefs this century. Thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to meeting you next year.